What's up, guys? This is Draco Backpack Sack 22 giving to you guys my Volcanic Ryzeal deck profile for the February 2025 format. This is a deck that I think is very well positioned in the meta right now just because there are a few decks such as Blue Eyes and Mouse that are burning themselves in their combos, so your opponents are helping you out, and it's really cool to just burn for damage. Again, I played the Philadelphia Regionals last month. I got 9th place out of like 700 players, and I went 8-1 and 1 in 10 rounds. The deck is certainly capable of winning right now. There are some obstacles in the format, such as Dweller Detonator, that are really hard to play through, but we have some strategies and some UK scenarios that I think could certainly combat those boards as well. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get into the profile, just showing off the two packages, and if you guys like that content, I will show off a combo video, or more like a test hand video, where I just show off some of the combos and how I play out some of the hands and some of the mentality that I'm going into a tournament with Volcanic Ryzeal out of all the Ryzeal strategies out there. I think that this is the coolest and certainly the most fun. So anyway, getting into the Volcanic package, I'm playing 3 Rocket, 3 Electro Blaster. So Rocket Blaster is like your bread and butter combo. So if you open up Rocket, still combo. Still to combo if you open 2 Blasters, just a little bit weaker to hand traps. But if you open up 2, one of each, then you're golden, because this gets your Blaze Accelerator, this dumps your Emperor, and then you still have the Ryzeal push as well by going into Duo Drive and trying to push there. So a really cool combination of cards. And then 3 Scatter Shot. This card's from 2007. It's kind of like a funny card just because it doesn't do anything by itself. It doesn't do anything, but if it sent off a Blaze Accelerator card, you could essentially blow up the board and also do 1500 damage. So it's a very dangerous card to exist in your deck, I guess you would say. And most hands where you draw like Ice X, you're pitching a card anyway in your combo, just like how Pure Ryzeal does. So by pitching Scatter Shot, at least you're doing 500 damage, and then you could equip it on your Detonator and potentially doing more damage. So again, every 500 damage that you can do matters, because your Emperor is doing a lot of damage, your Rafflesia is doing a lot of damage, and if you could just fill in the gaps with like 500 here and there, then you're essentially kind of FTKing your opponent. You're giving them a chance to play, but you're kind of burning them while they're playing, so it's kind of funny how the deck works. But I'm playing 1 Rimfire, 1 Emperor to finish off the Volcanic monsters. So Rimfire is your only target for VBA, Volcanic Blaze Accelerator, and this allows you to pop a monster on the field, and then replaces a Blaze Accelerator card, which you have to send the Blaze Accelerator for cost for the Volcanic Blaze Accelerator to set up your Blaze Accelerator reload. And this is the dangerous one, because this one, if it procs off, is the one that sends Scatter Shots to burn your opponent, but it could also help draw you cards on your opponent's turn, potentially draw into non-engine, so I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, this is pretty much the Volcanic package. The trap that I choose to play for Emperor is Volcanic Inferno. This is kind of like the negate one. At the regionals, I did play a mission to summon a second Emperor, but I got the second Emperor, so Inferno just made more sense. What's cool about Inferno is it negates monsters that activated on the field. It does not target, so it can negate things like Fiendsmith Requiem, which usually you're not stopping unless you have something like Ash Blossom or Call by the Grave. So being able to consistently negate that part of the deck is quite cool, because your opponent's kind of reliant on getting that interaction. So not only you're stopping the Fiendsmith push, you're also stopping their Trapping Grave and getting their Lacrima to the field. So going first, this is pretty good against that matchup. But if you do decide to play Inferno and you set up double Emperor against them, what's really important is actually deciding to negate the Requiem Engrave to equip to the Engraver, because otherwise they can send your Emperor to the grave, and that's usually how they out their board. So just a little bit of note there, but this is your Volcanic package. I don't play Trooper just because it's a level 3. It's a little awkward with the Ryzeal stuff. So if you are like a diehard Volcanic fan, unfortunately, you won't find that card in my deck. For the Ryzeal cards, I play 3 Ice, 3 X, 2 Sword, and 1 Node. So this is like, I think, the bare bones kind of lineup. I know that like some Mitsurugi players play less Ice, but this card is still broken because it's a Pyro. But X is probably the best one. Sword is a little bit less so, just because if you open Sword and nothing else, I tend to not go into Rafflesia, because I do want to end on my Emperor to turn on that engine, and then also end on the Detonator as well. So it's a little bit more prone to Nibiru and hand traps like that. But if you open up Ice and X, you're pretty safe against most hand traps in the format right now. So for the consistency cards, I play 3 Bonfire. Obviously, you're playing 2 Pyro archetypes, so this card is even more insane. And then 3 Extrav. So Extrav is a little controversial because of the fact that you're playing an archetype such as Ryzeal that does access the extra deck, so it's like a little bit different than like how Dinkabui played it. But this card is really the only card you want to keep, as well as this card. I mean, going first at least. So I don't really go into dual drive in my combos as much unless I open like double rocket or rocket blaster. But if I open up like the Ryzeal stuff, like extravagance is usually pretty free. So it's very good post siding because you need to see your side deck. Like that's so important right now. And like the pot cards are a little hindered. Obviously I can't play prosperity because it does half damage and we're kind of trying to do a lot of damage. So it's a little restrictive in that way. But yeah guys, so that is that. And then for the non-engine that I play, my only hand trap is 3 Fulos. Fulos is cool because sometimes your opponents pass or they pass on a minimalistic board, and usually you're able to do a lot of battle damage through minimalistic boards, so your effect damage is more crippling. Forbidden Droplets is a necessary card in this deck just because you need to stop Dweller Detonator. That's probably the biggest obstacle in the format right now is Dweller Detonator with the cross and the Eclipse Twins under it with the trap for Fiendsmith Engrave. So Droplets at least counteracts 2 of those problems by negating the Detonator and the Dweller. They can't respond if you send a monster, so they can't like Detonator pop itself. So you're pretty free to play. You try to OTK them through their board, and after that you're pretty much just playing through the cross and the trap, which if you have a competent hand can usually do, especially with Typhon. So the card is pretty decent. And then I play 1 Talents and 1 Call by the Grave. If you wanted to push it from 41 to 42 cards, you could just play the second Talents. I think it's certainly a good card. I just don't like to brick on multiples. But other than that, like both these cards are good against the board that I just mentioned. So they're cards that you want to have at some point. And then the last 2 cards in my deck are 2 Gravedigger's Trap Hole. So this card is cool to draw because, you know, sometimes it's good in the format, right? You could just negate, like, if they make X Chainlink 1 and Aggregator Chainlink 2, you could like negate their Aggregator, or you could negate like their Engraver in hand or Lurie, like pick your poison. But yeah, it negates Bestials, so that's really cool. The biggest thing though is you're going to set up Rafflesia to have this in the deck to negate Nibiru and again Bestials, other hand interactions. So it's really important. So 41 cards for the main deck. For the extra deck, I play 3 Ryzeal Detonator, 1 Dual Drive. Dual Drive only comes up when you open up Rocket plus Blaster, or double Rocket or double Blaster. But if you do banish it, you could always go into Banshee and still make a play from there. So it's not the end of the world if you do banish it. I don't play the Field Spell. I don't play Plug-in. Those cards are good, but I go into Banshee in my combo rather than going to Duo Drive. And I'm setting up Rafflesia as protection for Nib. So Cross isn't really as needed. It's also a brick to draw. So you have to take all these things into consideration. Then I play 3 Rafflesia. This card is really insane because, again, it protects your play from Nib, Veiler, other cards like that. Sometimes if I negate, like, they try to bait me with, like, a Veiler, and then I'll negate that, and then the next Xyz I make is a second Rafflesia, so I'm still protected from Nib. And if they want to Nib me there, then sure, but at least my Volcanic stuff is going to resolve, such as my Emperor, so it's fine. And then 2 Banshee. Banshee is necessary evil to play because if you just open up your Ryzeal stuff, then you need to get into your Volcanic stuff somehow. But what's cool is you can use the second effect. If it gets banished, you can special summon itself back. And yeah, it's a really cool card. Then I play 2 Aggregator. This is, you know, obviously necessary for X. Then I play 1 Exciton, 1 Dugaris. What's cool with Dugaris is you can summon your Emperor. And then after you do burn damage, you can use Dugaris to double attack Emperor, and then you make it 62, and if you like Droplets their board, then that could potentially kill them, especially if you reload Scattershot on them earlier in the turn. So, again, it doesn't come up, like, you wouldn't think it comes up a lot, but this is a scenario that you'll be playing out a lot if you go to, like, a 9-round tournament, so it does come up. Typhon. I would play the second Typhon. Right now I'm playing SP, but I do think Typhon's actually probably more important. Like, even if you get, like, a monster on your field, you want to link it off. This doesn't really come up as much, whereas Typhon, I think, comes up all the time. So if I banish this off my Extrav right now, I kind of cry. So I do think I will play a second Typhon to just mitigate that. And sometimes the second Typhon does come up as well. So anyway, guys, that is the Ryzeal Volcanic deck. I think, again, this deck is really cool. Like, it's a deck that can do burn damage. People are going to be paying 2,000 for their Lordly Loads. People are going to be paying 300 for each of their Malice monsters. So it's just like the deck that can take advantage of stuff like that. And sometimes your opponent doesn't take take into consideration their combo with burn damage involved. So it's kind of cool, and I think you're always favored to win game 3, especially with time being a factor as well. So anyway, guys, give the video a like, subscribe for more content, and I'll try to get that test hand video out for you pretty shortly. See you guys soon. Peace.